Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Michael and Dale at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome, and hope you had a wonderful Christmas with your friends, your family, and just spend some time off and eating good food, just having a good time. Hope it was a blessed day for you for sure. The news did not stop, of course. President-elect Donald Trump announced his ambassador to the Republic of Panama a few days after suggesting they would give the Panama Canal back. That was announced on Christmas Day. I'll give you those details. Also, Trump is stirring the pot with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau again, this time suggesting that hockey star Wayne Gretzky should challenge Trudeau for the role of Prime Minister. A South Carolina family is being heard on their disgust of Joe Biden's commuting the death sentence of the killer of their wife and mom. And with Thanksgiving and then Christmas just a few weeks later, we all had more to eat than usual. May have picked up a few extra pounds. Is that you? Dr. Ashley Lucas, founder of PhD Weight Loss, has some New Year's tips on not only how to lose those extra pounds, but how to avoid gaining them in the future.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson Bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson Bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
In anticipation of Donald Trump's largest deportation program in history, the Mexican government announced this week that they're planning to open 25 new shelters to accommodate an anticipated surge in deportations once Donald Trump takes office next month. Baja California Governor Marina del Pilar Avila Olmedo, that's a mouthful, confirmed the initiative, noting that the 5 of these shelters will be in Tijuana, with 2 more in Mexicali. The remaining locations have not been disclosed by the government yet. In a statement, she said this is a strategic plan to accommodate exclusively people who get deported after January the 20th. She emphasized that the shelters will be exclusively for Mexican nationals returning from the U.S., stating Mexicans will be welcomed back to their country and their human rights will be respected. The shelters, each with the capacity to house about 500 people, will temporarily host deported individuals before relocating them to their hometowns. Specific shelters will cater to men, some will cater to women, some will cater to families, and some unaccompanied minors. The shelters are set to open on January the 20th, coinciding with Donald Trump's inauguration, reflecting Mexico's anticipation of those stricter U.S. immigration policies. Incoming White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that Trump would take immediate executive action on border security on day one, as he has promised. Measures could include revisiting Title 42, a pandemic-era policy that allowed officials to turn away migrants at the border. Additionally, President Trump plans to empower federal and local law enforcement to coordinate efforts to identify, detain, and deport undocumented immigrants. Trump has appointed South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, of course, as the Homeland Security Secretary, and Tom Homan as the border czar, and he's ready to go. He's ready to oversee this deportation program. Stephen Miller, known for his hardline stance on immigration as well, will serve as Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. So I think we can expect that those shelters that Mexico is going to set up to probably fill up pretty quickly. I'm not sure that 25 is enough, but we shall see. Joe Biden has spared the lives of 37 federal death row inmates. We talked about this before Christmas, yet has not shown the same compassion for people who were protesting abortions. You ready for this? Jonathan Darnell, he's a pro-life activist serving a prison sentence for blocking access to a Washington, D.C. abortion clinic. He expressed hope for a pardon from President-elect Donald Trump once he takes office next month. He was speaking from Thompson FCI in Illinois He's 43 years old. He shared his aspirations to help repeal the Federal Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. It's known as the FACE Act, which has been used to prosecute dozens of anti-abortion demonstrators during Joe Biden's administration. In 2020, Darnell was part of a group of 10 protesters who chained themselves to an abortion clinic entrance. All were convicted under the FACE Act. It's a 30-year-old law that prohibits obstructing access to both abortion clinics and to pro-life pregnancy centers. Among part of this group that day was Lauren Handy, a prominent anti-abortion advocate who received the harshest sentence after being found with 5 fetuses in her home. Darnell criticized the Biden administration for what he sees as selective enforcement of the FACE Act, noting that 32 of the 34 people convicted under the law since President Biden took office were pro-life activists. So, in other words, the nearly 100 attacks on pro-life pregnancy centers following the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022, they have gone unprosecuted. But yet, if you protest an abortion clinic, you might find yourself on the wrong side of the law with Biden's DOJ. Darnell said all the agents and other people who went along with the FACE Act enforcement need to be removed from their positions, and he's hoping that the Trump administration will prioritize dismantling the law. Republican lawmakers are agreeing. Texas Representative Chip Roy, who recently chaired a hearing on repealing the FACE Act, where witnesses highlighted what they view as targeted harassment of pro-life activists. During the hearing, Paul Vaughn, a pro-life activist, was arrested by armed FBI agents after a peaceful protest, and 89-year-old Soviet concentration camp survivor Eva Edel, who could face up to 11 years in prison for her role in a 2020 blockade. They both shared their experiences with the committee. Alliance Defending Freedom attorney Aaron Hawley testified that federal prosecutors are increasingly charging pro-life demonstrators with conspiracy against rights offenses to escalate the penalties. Think about this, folks. I mean, when I read this, my blood just boils. I just get angry with Joe Biden, knowing that he spared the lives of these 37 murderers, and every day that we learn more about these men, the more horrible it is. I'm going to be telling you about a South Carolina family a little bit later in today's show. But yet Biden wants to prosecute and imprison people who protest an abortion clinic. Representative Roy called on the Trump administration to consider pardoning and commuting the sentences of pro-life activists prosecuted under the FACE Act. He said unequal application of the law is not truly law, it is tyranny. And he's right, isn't he? What do you think? You think Donald Trump will do this? I think that Joe Biden probably has opened the door for Donald Trump to issue a lot of pardons and to commute a lot of sentences, particularly people who have been prosecuted, selectively prosecuted, like these people, simply because they're pro-life and they have been exercising their freedom of speech in front of an abortion clinic. Darnell described his prison experience as relatively calm. He said inmates are focusing on rehabilitation and avoiding trouble to secure their release while not actively advocating for pro-life causes in prison. He said he shared his faith with fellow inmates, witnessing some develop a closer relationship with God. Reflecting on his sentence, Darnell urged fellow activists not to fear potential imprisonment, viewing it as a testament to their convictions. He said, quoting, his quote was, "Some people were willing to go all the way for their beliefs to go to prison. Pro-lifers should not be fearful about doing what is right." That's easier said than done, though, isn't it? Because if you're fearful that you're going to go to prison because you're protesting an abortion clinic, you may not choose to do so. As we head into the new year, of course, the big event coming up, the countdown is on for January the 20th, the inauguration of Donald Trump. It's going to be a grand event. I can't wait. I cannot wait to be in Washington, D.C. and witness this historic event. Of course, the plans for the event are well underway. It's going to be expensive. Everybody wants to be my friend, Trump said, of his 2024 transition to the White House. Judging from how quickly some of the companies are lining up to make major donations for his inauguration, it's kind of hard to argue the point. This week, Toyota became the latest with a pledge of $1 million toward the event. The Toyota pledge came a day after Ford and GM offered the same amount. The two American automakers also are donating vehicles, though according to the AP, Toyota will not be. The auto industry, of course, is worried about how possible tariffs and a less favorable attitude towards electric vehicles will affect their business. GM chief Mary Barra and Ford CEO Jim Farley have both expressed optimism that Trump will listen to their concerns and will do what's right for these American businesses. The Wall Street Journal is singling out companies making major donations after promising in the wake of the 2020 Capitol riot to withhold support from those who back claims of a disputed election. This list so far includes Ford, Intuit, Toyota, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, Goldman Sachs, GM, Bank of America, AT&T, and Stanley Black & Decker. So what does $1 million get you? 6 tickets to a series of events in the days leading up to the inauguration, including a reception with cabinet appointees, a candlelight dinner with Trump and Melania Trump, and a black tie ball. Sounds like a deal to me. If you've been putting off a visit to PhD Weight Loss, now's your time because it comes with an amazing free gift. Joey Hudson here. During December, the founder of PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas, is giving the first 100 people to sign up for a consultation a free weight loss and energy supplement bundle. What a great gift. Do what I did. Take control now before heading into the indulgent holiday season. Get a grasp and avoid the holiday pounds. I dropped over 30 pounds and I'm not worried about parties and overeating because my PhD coach taught me coping mechanisms to help me enjoy holiday events without gaining the weight. Best of all, I never took a weight loss drug. I'm not dependent on a prescription. And I was never hungry. PhD Weight Loss is not about depriving yourself. Lose the awful belly fat, gain energy, and avoid weight-related health issues. You will feel so amazing about yourself and truly enjoy the holiday season. PhD Weight Loss. Ask about the free gift when you book your consultation. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or go to myphdweightloss.com. You may recall that just before Christmas, President-elect Donald Trump suggested we might ask for the Panama Canal back. Remember that? Well, on Christmas Day, the president announced who his ambassador to the Republic of Panama will be. In a statement, the Trump-Vance transition team announced, quote, "I'm pleased to announce that Kevin Moreno Cabrera will serve as the United States ambassador to the Republic of Panama, a country that is ripping us off on the Panama Canal far beyond their wildest dreams. Kevin is a fierce fighter for America First principles. As a Miami-Dade County Commissioner and Vice Chairman of the International Trade Consortium, he has been instrumental in driving economic growth and fostering international partnerships. In 2020, Kevin did an incredible job as my Florida State Director, and this year advanced our MAGA agenda as a member of the RNC Platform Committee. If you understand Latin American politics as well as Kevin, he will do a fantastic, in all caps, job representing our nation's interest in Panama. This will be interesting. And Panama is not the only target in Trump's crosshairs. This one is a story that combines politics, sports, and a bit of humor. Classic Donald Trump style. President-elect Trump is stirring up the conversation north of the border. We're not talking about trade or pipelines here. We're talking about hockey. Trump has thrown his support behind none other than National Hockey League legend Wayne Gretzky as a potential candidate for Canadian Prime Minister. Here's a story. On Truth Social, Trump shared his thoughts after meeting with the great one himself, Wayne Gretzky. Trump said, and I quote, "Wayne, why don't you run for Prime Minister of Canada, soon to be known as the Governor of Canada? You would win easily. You wouldn't even have to campaign," he said. Now, Trump says Gretzky has no interest in the idea, but he still thinks Canadians should start a draft Wayne Gretzky movement. Now, why not? If there's one thing we've learned in politics these past years, is that people love an outsider, someone who isn't from the typical political mold. And boy, Wayne Gretzky, with his history of winning and his incredible reputation, he's got a lot going for him. He could be a great candidate. Let's add a little context here of what's going on. This comes, of course, as Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is under increasing pressure to step aside. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland recently resigned from his cabinet, sparking more questions about the stability of Trudeau's leadership. An opposition leader, Jagmeet Singh, has openly called for Trudeau to step down. There's a bit of chaos brewing in Canada, and Trump just could not resist chiming in typical Trump fashion. When Freeland resigned, President-elect Trump didn't hold back. He went on Truth Social and wrote, "The great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigns or was fired from the position by Governor Justin Trudeau." He's just digging at Trudeau, calling him governor rather than prime minister. He's trolling Trudeau. That's what it amounts to, calling him governor of Canada, hinting once again as his playful suggestion recently that Canada should join the U.S. as our 51st state. But here's where it really gets interesting. Trump's post came with a jab at Freeland, too, calling her behavior toxic and saying it wasn't conducive to making deals that benefit Canadians. Of course, we all know there's no love lost between Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau. It's no secret that those two have butted heads before. But this latest round of jabs is vintage Trump, keeping himself in the headlines and sparking debates across borders and around the world, just kind of playfully poking at the Canadian Prime Minister. Again, other politicians would never even think of doing this. Trump playfully calls him out. And he's probably more serious about it than we think, but he does it in such a fashion that one could think it's either in humor rather than being serious. And let's not forget, last month, Wayne Gretzky was spotted at Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Could this mean anything? Maybe not. Probably not. But it certainly added fuel to the fire. You got to know that Justin Trudeau probably, or someone on his staff, probably called his attention to the fact that Wayne Gretzky was hanging around Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And Trump knows how to stir the pot. He's got the folks talking about Wayne Gretzky for prime minister. Trudeau has to know about this. And Trump knows that Trudeau knows about it. And he just keeps stirring the pot. He keeps poking at Trudeau. Can you imagine a hockey legend stepping into the political rink like this? It sounds a little far-fetched, I know. But again, crazier things have happened in politics. Who would have thought that the billionaire businessman, the New York developer, Donald Trump, would have been serious when he rode down the Golden Escalator in 2015? Nobody took him seriously. And Trump beat, 15, 17 other politicians in that year's GOP presidential primary. And look where we are today. He just wiped out the Democrats in November. And again, nobody took him seriously. Nobody thought that Donald Trump had a chance when he came down the escalator in the lobby of Trump Tower so many years ago. Maybe Gretzky is the one. Gretzky is certainly a likable person. He's considered a unifier, a national hero in Canada, and a guy who knows how to win in sports. Maybe he can transfer that to politics. Those are certainly qualities that resonate far beyond the ice rink, right? All right, so I want to hear what you think. Could Wayne Gretzky be the Prime Minister of Canada? Could he be the right person to lead Canada? Should Canadians take Trump's advice and draft the great one? Or is this just another playful headline from President-elect Trump to kind of get people talking and to maybe be in a little firmer negotiating position with Trudeau? Or another scenario here. Should Donald Trump just leave Justin Trudeau alone and focus on getting his administration ready to go, up and running on January the 20th, and just stay out of Canadian politics altogether? Would that be better for Trump just to tone it down a bit and leave Canada alone, leave Justin Trudeau alone, and let him be on his own up there? Love to hear from you. You can text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are on this latest little round from our president-elect, Donald J. Trump. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. Dr. Ashley Lucas has more than 15 years of education in nutrition and metabolism. She holds a PhD in sports nutrition and chronic disease and is a licensed registered dietitian. Dr. Lucas is the author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, 5 Steps to Reset the Scale, and I'm happy to welcome to the show the founder of PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, Joey. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
The holidays are always a hard time for some people. We spend time with families, lots of holiday parties. So for many, weight gain is part of the holidays. What's your advice to people who step on the scales in the new year and find themselves 5-10 pounds heavier?
Sure. Well, you're exactly right, Joey. About 90% of Americans actually put on weight over the holidays, which is wild to think about, isn't it? So if you're listening to this and you put on some weight over the holidays, know that you are not alone, but that you can create change, and it doesn't have to be hard. We see a lot of people come into PhD weight loss after the holidays, and they're just ready to commit. They're at threshold. They've decided that they don't want to go another year and put on the weight because, just 1 pound of extra fat mass on our frame, say in our belly, is about 8 pounds of extra force pushing through the foot and the ankle. It's about 5 pounds of force pulling off the spine. So if you have sleep apnea, it's going to make that worse or even be the cause of it. It's going to increase pain through the joints and all of these things. So I guess if you have put on weight through the holidays, it's you're not alone. I really don't think it's actually your fault. It's all driven hormonally by us just being in a state of fat storage. And it can be very simple to take the weight off pretty darn quickly.
Well, I like the sound of that because I like simple. Of course, losing that weight is at the top of a lot of people's New Year's resolutions, but it's one of the hardest resolutions to keep. People year after year will say, okay, this is the year that I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to get healthy. So talk with us about how we keep that resolution, we do lose the weight, and we get healthy.
Yeah, the majority of people stop their New Year's resolution in the middle of February, as quick as 6 weeks into it. Some only 3 weeks are able to stay to their New Year's resolution. So, really what we want to see is support and accountability. So we know that, for example, if you write down the food that you're eating throughout the day, you're going to have a 50% increased chance of succeeding in your weight loss journey. So just think about that. Just writing down what you're eating makes such a big difference. Think about what the difference would be in your journey if you had a support person by you. This could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be someone outside of your family, say like PhD Weight Loss or some other kind of support program. But really, we think that we should drop weight on our own. We feel like we should be able to do it. We just need to eat less and move more is what we're told. We just need to eat everything in moderation. But man, that is not the case. The majority of people need support and accountability. And when we think we should do it on our own, it just increases our general level of stress. This increases our stress hormone hormones, and it makes the process even harder. So I would say the number one thing is to get that support person, get some kind of accountability, maybe track your food or track the movement that you do during the day so that you can hold yourself accountable and see that success.
On our guest line today, Dr. Ashley Lucas, founder of PhD Weight Loss. You can find out additional information at their website, myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com, or call 864-644-1900. And Dr. Lucas, that was one of the best parts of PhD for me, was my relationship with my coach. As you know, I lost over 30 pounds. It's been over 4 years ago now, and I've been able to maintain that. But I love the idea that I had that person, that support there. Even though Peg and I, over the years, we'd tried doing this together and all, but having a third party, our PhD coach there with us, that really made a difference.
It is a big difference. We look to hiring coaches for all aspects of our lives. We'll hire a personal trainer. If we own a business, we might, hire a business coach. If we are in a sport, we work with a lot of people who like to golf. And I hear them all the time, talking about their trainer, their coach, helping them on their golf swing. We always do this, but when we look at it from a weight loss perspective, we have guilt around it. We have shame, again, because we think we should be able to do this on our own. We think it's just about restricting calories and moving more, but I'll tell you, our body is much more complicated than a simple in and out equation. Our body is not run by calorie sensors, and it is really helpful to have a coach on the outside being able to look in because it takes away the emotion. If we're doing this on our own, we have so much emotion tied to it. We need someone to tell us the truth, sometimes the hard truth, but our coaches are super compassionate, and everybody loves our coaches because they are just the best.
Yes, they do.
But just like having a coach help you with your golf swing, it's just maybe a shift of a millimeter in your elbow, and that will make all the difference. Sometimes it's unbelievable. We have people come in and they say, oh my gosh, I eat so healthy, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and maybe it's one small shift, and after that, the weight just starts to release. So, yeah, if you are doubting and feeling shame or guilt around having someone help you, I will tell you that weight loss is complicated. For a lot of people, it's an addiction recovery process, and we just need support, someone looking from the outside who's compassionate but will tell you the truth and maybe just shift what you're eating by a millimeter to see that great success you've been waiting for.
Yeah, well, in my case, and I've told you this before, I'm a chocoholic. I love chocolate, and but I got through that. My PhD coach helped me realize that I can still have some chocolate along the way, but I just have to control it. All right, one of the big fads these days, of course, is, and I consider it a shortcut, and that's some of the shots and some of the various pharmaceutical options out there. What do you say to people who may be considering taking something like that versus what you guys do, which is all natural?
Yeah, well, I have compassion for anyone who's going through the process of dropping weight. And I feel like a lot of people who are taking these injections just feel like it might be their last hope because they have tried so many things in the past with no success, right? They feel like there is no hope and this is it. And I'm just here to share with you, if you feel this way, that is not the case, and it's likely the methods that were used or many other aspects associated with perhaps addiction recovery aspects, or just, dropping a lot of muscle in the process, or just focusing on what and when to eat and not the mindset around it. So many different aspects as to why we've failed. So there are ways to drop weight in such a successful way. We've had clients, over 10,000 clients with PhD weight loss, and we've helped them drop over 366,000 pounds collectively with no medications, no injections, no supplements. You can do this by just manipulating your food and get off of all medications. A lot of our clients come to us because they want to get off medications, not but put on a lifelong injection or medication like Ozempic or Wegovy or Mounjaro, whatever that might be, but they get off of all of them, and you do have the power within yourself. Your body will work the way that it's supposed to. We've just not been told how to do that. So when you learn the how and you have the support system behind you, you look at the mental and emotional, the habit behaviors as well, then oh my gosh, you can drop all of this weight just as quick. You won't have food noise. You won't have the food chatter. You will not be hungry. It feels so good and completely powerful, empowered within yourself because you won't be dependent on any kind of medication.
Yeah, and it will just change your life. I'm just so proud of all the people that you guys have been able to help. In my case, of course, I lost weight, got healthier. But just as I've talked about the program over the last 4 years or so, I've had people come up and tell me their stories. And I've had people that I went to high school with, which has been a number of years ago, who told me this changed my life. I lost 125 pounds, and I feel so much better. I'm off of medications, and boy, that's just a great feeling to have, to know that we've been able to help people like that. Again, go to myphdweightloss.com or call 864-644-1900 if you're ready to make a change and get healthy in this coming new year. Continuing this day after Christmas, hope you had a wonderful Christmas with your family and with your friends, and most importantly, just had some quiet time to think about the reason for Christmas and celebrate the birth of our Christ. And I hope you're looking forward to an exciting 2025 because, folks, I got a feeling it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a fast-paced year. It's going to be fun to watch. We talked quite a bit earlier in the week about Joe Biden's commutation of 37 of 40 death row inmates on the federal death row. Here's another instance of Joe Biden's soft on crime policies leaving innocent families just shattered. Just days before Christmas, as you know, Biden decided to commute the sentences of 37 federal death row inmates. There's 40 men on the federal death row. He commuted 37, including a man who mercilessly gunned down 2 innocent women during a 2017 South Carolina bank robbery. And the victims' families, they weren't even given the courtesy of a meaningful conversation before this decision was made. Let me introduce you to Donna Major. She was a 59-year-old bank teller, and Catherine Skeen, just 36 years old at the time. These women were brutally executed by Brandon Council, a career criminal, while they were simply doing their jobs at Crestcom Bank in Conway, South Carolina. Surveillance footage showed Council walking into the bank, speaking briefly to Donna, before pulling out his gun and shooting her multiple times. He didn't stop there. He then jumped over the counter and shot Catherine, who had no chance to defend herself. Now, imagine being a member of Donna Major's family this holiday season. Imagine reliving the horror of what happened to your loved one, only to find out that the man responsible for her cold-blooded murder will no longer face the justice that he deserves, will no longer face the sentence that a jury of his peers thought was appropriate for him because of the crime. Donna's daughter, Heather Turner, described to Fox News her reaction as angry, hurt, and frustrated.
Anger, absolute anger. We were told from our prosecution team on Sunday afternoon. I was actually gathered with my in-laws for our family Christmas. My sister was gathered with her in-laws, and we got the call, and I was angry. I'm still angry. I am upset that this is even happening, that one man can make this decision without even talking to the victims, without any regard for what we've been through, what we're going through. I'm completely hurt, frustrated, and angry.
And who can blame her? Heather and her family trusted the justice system. They sat through a grueling trial. They watched graphic evidence of the murders, saw videos of their mom, photos of her mom's lifeless body on the floor of the bank, and believed that the system would hold Brandon Council accountable. And the system did. Sentenced him to death. But then comes Joe Biden. he decided to undermine all of that with the stroke of a pen. And let's be clear, this wasn't an isolated incident. This counsel guy, he wasn't some unfortunate soul who made one bad decision. He was a career criminal who showed zero mercy to his victims. Yet Joe Biden, in his statement defending this commutation, had the audacity to talk about compassion and conscience. He claimed this was about stopping the federal death penalty and preventing the next administration, led by President Donald Trump, from resuming executions. Biden said in his statement, "I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted." Remember, Joe Biden did halt any federal executions on day one of his presidency. Here's the thing that I don't quite understand. He talks about compassion. He talks about conscience. He talks about how he can't allow executions to resume. But why 37 of 40? What about the other three? Do they not fall into the same category? Well, what about Dylan Roof from South Carolina? He gunned down black people in a black church. You think maybe Joe Biden consulted his buddy James Clyburn, and James Clyburn said, "Oh, no, we can't commute him. We can't commute him. He's different." You think there was a conversation there? Wouldn't you love to know? Let's ask a real question, though. Where was the compassion for Donna Major? Where was the compassion for Catherine Skeen, or for their families who are now forced to relive the nightmare? Donna's daughter, Katie Jenkins, put it perfectly when she said, "Compassion? For who? A criminal?" No, I don't agree with that at all. And here's something else that'll just make your blood boil. The Major family tried to plead their case. They wrote letters to the pardon attorney. They requested an in-person meeting to share their story. And you know what? They got a 10-minute virtual conference. That's it. That's all the Biden administration could spare for a grieving family. Heather Turner said it felt like their voices fell on deaf ears, and she appears to be right.
So in May, we heard that this was a possibility. And at that point, we began writing letters to the pardon attorney. I reached out requesting an in-person meeting in D.C., and we were refused. They denied our right to have our voices heard. We're victims. My mother was murdered at the hands of Brandon Hansel. They should have heard our story, and all we got was a 10-minute virtual conference, and clearly that fell on deaf ears. They did not want to hear our story.
No, Joe Biden doesn't care about her story. Biden claimed this was all about showing compassion and mercy. But again, what about the families? While appearing on Fox News, Donna Major's husband, Danny, said he certainly wasn't shown any mercy.
She was shown no mercy at all. This man walked into the bank, never said 2 words to her, shot her 3 times in total, went and shot her coworker, Katie Skeen, as well, who was totally defenseless and unaware that anything was happening. It's just beyond me that I can't even believe that this has actually happened, a commuting of sentences like this of 37 victims, all but 3, which was certainly a political scheme that undoubtedly. Joe Biden was also told by the Pope that he should stop these executions. Now, what the Pope has to do with anything in this country, I don't know. But Joe Biden certainly has no convictions. He's a senile old man. He couldn't tie his shoes, I wouldn't think, if you could see him in person. It's absolutely disgusting.
Disgusting is right. This whole thing of commuting and pardoning literally almost 2,000 people is disgusting. Now, let's look at the bigger picture here, though. This is part of a broader pattern of the Biden administration. We've watched it unfold over the past almost 4 years now. In his time as president, Biden has commuted the sentences of over 1,600 inmates. He's granted dozens and dozens of pardons, including one to his own son, Hunter. This isn't about compassion, folks. This is about political posturing. Joe Biden wants to score points with the far left. Why? I don't know. His career's over. He'll never be in elected office again. Why he feels like he has to still pander to the left is a mystery to me. He wants to pander to the anti-death penalty crowd. Again, I don't know why. Just listen to squad member Ariana Presley, who called these commutations an act of moral leadership.
The death penalty has not been proven to be a deterrent of crime. State-sanctioned murder is not justice. And today, what President Biden did demonstrated moral leadership, compassionate leadership. informed by his own faith. It has had a disparate impact on low-income people, Black people, and other marginalized persons.
She wants to talk about moral leadership. They all want to talk about compassion. Again, what about the families of Donna Major? Here's one of Donna's daughters responding to Ariana Presley.
Compassion? I don't think that that's compassion. The fact that he didn't talk to any of us, the victims of this crime, you know, we trusted the judicial system. We sat through court. I watched my mother be murdered. I've watched images of her body laying on the ground. He does not have compassion for who? A criminal? A criminal? No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
And look, the fact is, Brandon Council wasn't the only monster spared by Joe Biden's pen. In fact, he was probably calm compared to some of the others. Yes, he killed 2 people. Others on that commutation list were men who killed children, who killed law enforcement officers. Darrell Lawrence is another example. He murdered Columbus police officer Brian Hurst. Hurst was 33 years old. He was working special duty at a bank. On January 6, 2005, when Lawrence entered with a drawn handgun and killed the officer during an exchange of gunfire. Witnesses and people in the courtroom claimed that Lawrence went into that bank with the intention of killing the police officer. But Joe Biden commuted his sentence. Don't worry about it. Officer Hurst, his family, of course, is just as upset as Donna Majors as well. And again, the only ones Biden excluded, the 3 high-profile killers, was the Boston Marathon bomber, the Tree of Life synagogue shooter, and Dylan Roof, the Charleston church shooter. Why? Because the political blowback would have been too much even for Joe Biden on these cases. So here we are. The victims' families are grieving without the justice they were promised. Meanwhile, Joe Biden and his allies pat themselves on the back for showing compassion. Compassion. Folks, this is the state of our justice system under the Biden administration. Come January the 20th, President-elect Donald Trump is going to have one heck of a mess to clean up over at DOJ. I want to hear from you on this. What do you think about Joe Biden's decision to commute the sentences of these cold-blooded killers? Is this justice? Is this compassion? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.